beautiful ones. I hope you're all having a wonderful now wherever you are. Briefly, I will just mention some of the energy that we are experiencing right now. Can be very light, but there can also be energies that are very difficult. And a lot of the energies are actually originating from within us, and a lot of the energies are also coming from other sources. So the sun, other planetary or other stellar bodies, and also from other places that we are not even aware of, but that there are energies that are here to assist us, and they've kind of always been available to us, but it was that the planet wasn't in a state to be able to receive them, and maybe it was more us humans, the collective, that were not in a state to receive them, but we are now. And so some of the symptoms that people may be experiencing may be headaches, short temper, just feeling really off, feeling like there's just a lot going on internally and not knowing how to deal with it. And a lot of people are still having issues with difficulty with sleeping, with just doing their everyday life, just doing human things have become really difficult for some people, and for some of us it just means that we have to slow down a little bit and just kind of pause and look at what we need to do. And again, I always say, check in with your body and find out what's going on. Your body's always speaking to you. So today I wanted to talk briefly about starseeds. And my concept of what a starseed is, I guess, has changed since I first became aware of that concept. I do want to say that there are many of us here. I don't know what the percentage of humanity is that are actually starseeds, and then the new people, the new beings that are coming, that's what most of them are. And so it's interesting because a lot of us, and even the ones that aren't even starseeds, they may give birth to other starseed children, and they will notice that they are very different than maybe their parents, their grandparents, and even themselves and people around them. So a starseed is a being who chooses to incarnate into this planet in order to help to assist humanity during this shift. Now, we have been incarnating on this planet for a long time, but not in the numbers that we are in right now. Right now, the number of starseeds, it's a lot. It's a lot. A lot of the people that you're meeting out there are probably starseeds, and a lot of you guys don't realize that you're starseeds. You feel something, but you don't quite know what it is. You feel different, and you feel that there's something that you're here to do, but you haven't quite tapped into it. And that's okay, because I feel like some of us can still do our work even without realizing what we're doing. Some of us are grid workers. Some of us are here to help uplift the planet, to help humanity heal through our own healing process, and also through external ways that we help others heal. There's so many different reasons why we have incarnated to be teachers, to be healers. So many ways that we can express ourselves, which can be of assistance to humanity. So I remember specifically, and every time that I think about this, it makes me think I'm like crazy. I'm like, why did I raise my hand? I remember a call going out, and it was the planet was needing some help, and it came from the planet herself. And the planet was needing help, and it was like a clarion call that went out. And I specifically remember sitting at a table and raising my hand and saying, of course I volunteer. And now I'm like, I can't even say that I was drunk. I don't know what I was thinking, but that's not true. It's interesting because there's times as a starseed where you will be like, I don't want to have anything to do with all this mess, and I just want to go back home. The great thing is that with experience and being open, or through whatever, however you get there, you end up realizing that you're always home. You've never left home. It's just that we are able to have the experience of being in a human body and having a human experience, but we are still home. We have never left our star systems or our spaceships. So I recently told the story of going back home and realizing that I was always home, but I was always here. And so it's the same thing for all of us. Like, people will think, and I used to think the same way, like, oh, maybe in the future or in the past I have a parallel life that is Pleiadian, Lyran, Andromedan, whatever, it could be Arcturian. And in fact, all those lives are actually happening right now as we speak. They're not in another, they're not necessarily in the future or in the past. You are that right now, and you have access to all that your whole self has access to. And so in a way, it's kind of funny, because I think that I used to think like, okay, well, all humans technically came from the stars. I mean, we are ourselves star beings, even if you've never had a life in any other place but the earth, which is, I don't think that's possible. But even if that's the case, you're still the stars. But what makes Starseeds different is that many of us have not incarnated here. Some of us haven't incarnated here at all before, although I've heard that before, and I am told that, but I've always felt that you had to have some sort of practice, some sort of experience. I have heard that sometimes we can kind of like borrow kind of like memories or like that are not ours to be able to help us here. So from like other previous humans. I don't know if that's true, but a lot of us have not been here many times, and so this planet feels very foreign to us. I remember growing up and just feeling very different from my family. I remember even like wondering if I know I'm not adopted, but I just feel like I'm not of this family, even though I love my family, but I always felt off. And as a child, I was different from my siblings. My first experience with I don't want to say an ET, but it was an energy being, was when I was 5, and I had a beautiful being come into my room, and it was a very beautiful young looking, looked like a little girl, and she brightened my day, my moment. And so that was my first experience. And a lot of starseeds will actually have those kind of experiences where they will actually start seeing their families, or start seeing beings from other planes, and they have the ability. They'll also come in with extra abilities, extra sensory abilities. All their senses can be very like heightened. A lot of them will have other talents, like healing, teaching, singing, artists. It's kind of interesting because it's not that even like they're so different from humanity. It's almost like they're just more, they've had more time to do what they're doing, because Earth is like the new kid on the block, right? So even though it's been around for a while, so these beings have just had millennia, a lot longer to evolve and to go through their process. And in my part, I was chosen for this mission, as many of us were, because we have been involved in the ascension of other planets, including our own. And so we had some experience that could be of assistance to those who are going through this process. So to summarize, a starseed is a being that is, I like to say that we're just kind of borrowed for a little bit. We've been borrowed for a little bit to come and help out this process. We couldn't have the same energy kind of just repeating itself. We needed to have different energy coming in, and so, for example, it could be energy that had higher qualities or higher energies that then could be put into the planet. It's the way that I look at it is, every day that we wake up here, we're able to ground our own energy, our own unique signature energy. And every time that we do that, we're actually putting it into the planet, and then the planet is able to use it. It becomes available to all. So it's almost like we came here with a template, with something that we needed to share, and ways that we could help. And that's what we are doing here. And like I said, each of us have our different purposes and different ways that we can help out. And some of us don't even have to do anything. That's the crazy thing about it, because a lot of us, I felt like called, to like do something. And I do, I do it every day. But I still feel that calling, and a lot of us feel that calling, and it feels like a lot of us we want to do more, and it's great that we want to do more, but sometimes what we are doing right now is good enough, and we don't have to try to push ourselves or think that we're not good enough because we're not doing something greater, when what we're doing is so much. Do you know how difficult it is for us to be here, for us to acclimate to this energies that are so opposite from where we come from? And for me, I spent most of my teenage years trying to find a way out, because I just couldn't deal with the energies the way that they were. And a lot of us are like that. A lot of us in the beginning want to run away. We don't want to be here. This is just so foreign to us. And a lot of us unfortunately do end up committing suicide and don't actually stay the whole time we were planning to. And that's okay, because it's a lot harder to come in and do this than I ever thought it would be. And even now, as we're going through this, and even knowing what we know, it's still difficult. So I do want to make another video on Starseeds to get just a little bit more in depth as to where we come from, why we're here, also just ways to help us like acclimate to the energies here, because these energies are very foreign to us. And but it's interesting, because once you get used to, or you find ways to be here and yet have your energy almost be separate, but at the same time you're sharing your gifts and your love, you kind of learn to thrive in the energies, and you realize that you're here to transform those energies. You're not here to become those energies. You're not here to push away those energies. A lot of us want to try to go and like get away from people, because it's very difficult for us. Again, where we come from, this stuff doesn't happen. There isn't any of this fighting. We come from unity consciousness, and so it's difficult for us to adjust to coming to a place where there's constant fighting. It's like we come to this place which is opposite of where we come from, and we're very brave for doing that. And I'm very proud of all you who are here that are assisting. And I know a lot of you don't even know, but I feel like we kind of sense it. Like if someone, like for example, there's people that I've met and I recognize them right away, and I've said something to them and they were like, oh yeah, you know what, I am. Like they were like that. They were very calm about it, and maybe they hadn't thought about it, but it was more the way that they reacted to it was just like, oh yeah, like it was just something normal. And I'm like, oh yeah, definitely. So it's great to meet other Starseeds. It's great to know that we each bring our own talents and our own gifts that we can share with humanity, that we are not better than humanity. Humanity is evolving the same way that we had to, and we are here to assist them, and we don't assist them by looking down on them or judging them or any of that. We assist them by uplifting them, by also helping ourselves, meaning that every time that we uplift ourselves and that we do any of our healing, it affects the whole collective. It affects your ancestors. Everything that you do has an impact and reverberates across all creation and time. So